Welcome everybody back to this new video lesson on microeconomics. Today we're going to start a new theoretical block on game theory. During this first pill on game theory, we will discuss some basics such as the definition of game and what is game theory, sometimes examples of games, and finally which elements define a strategic game. All these basics will be used in following videos when we deeply analyze the different games and their solutions. Let's start defining what is a game. A game is an interaction between two or more people. That is, a situation in which the well-being or utility of each one depends not only on their own decisions, but also on the decisions of others. We can think of many real-life examples. Every duopoly, for example, the competence between Boeing and Airbus, where the profit of one firm depends on the price it sets for its product, but also on the price set by the competence for products of a similar range. If, for example, Airbus is more expensive than Boeing, it will sell fewer planes than the competence. The second example is every auction, for example, public auctions where government sells telecommunications infrastructure and a firm, for example, Telefonica, bids for it. The firm will only buy it if its bid is higher than those of the other companies involved in the auction. The third example is every labor negotiation when workers and employers negotiate wages. The final result depends not only on what the workers ask for, but also on what employers are willing to concede. Other example is that involving environment. Global warming depends, for example, not only on a country's emissions, but also on those of the rest of the countries. There are also other examples regarding team organization. When a group of people has a common goal, for example, manufacturing a product, they need to coordinate to achieve it. In politics, there are many examples of game theory. For example, the number of votes that any party receives depends not only on the platform it presents, but also on those presented by other parties. Other interesting example is the war. Whether an army wins a war depends not only on its own strategy, but also on that of the enemy army. For sure, there are other examples like games such as chess and many of board games where winning depends on what each player does. Once we have defined what a game is, then we will deep into the definition of game theory. We should first mention that it's divided partly into two branches: cooperative versus non-cooperative. The distinction between each branch is somewhat blurred, but the basic idea is that in non-cooperative game theory, the unit of analysis is the individual, while in the cooperative one is the group itself. We will consider in the following videos only non-cooperative game theory, defined as the study of the behavior of economic agents participating in a game. Game theory, then, is a mathematical tool frequently used to analyze strategic interactions between two or more agents. In a strategic context, each individual does not necessarily have a choice that is best for them alone. What is best may depend on the decisions made by the other agents, and vice versa. There are many applications For example, imperfect competition, contract theory, international economics, labor economics, monetary economics, finance, public economics, tournaments, competitions, political science, psychology, biology, and etc. In this block or unit, we will learn to model strategic situations in the form of a game and principally to find the solution or prediction of the game. This first video or pill discusses the main concepts or basics needed to achieve the first objective of the lesson. To end with this first video on game theory, suppose we want to predict the behavior of participants in any game. What information do we need? Game theory states that for any game, the following information is enough. We only need three elements to define any game. Firstly, the participants in the game or players. Secondly, the strategies that are any alternative or choice that each player can choose, so we can define the strategy profile for any players as their complete contingent plan. Finally, the payoffs, that is the utility or economic benefit that any player obtains if all players behave according to a strategic profile. We can denote as U if we are talking about utility, or P if we are talking about economic benefit. And we use these payoffs in order to compare and in order to measure the final results for every player in the game. In upcoming videos related to game theory, we will learn how to model different situations in the form of a game, and most importantly, how to find solutions or predictions for each of these situations.